Hey guys, thanks for coming back, or welcome, whichever. Today you want to know about grounding. I'm going to read this question because it's kind of long and it's well worded and asked. I like it. I like this question. Please talk about groundedness. Those of us that love topics such as angels and UFOs and energies and manifesting, and I love all these topics, are often, myself included, chronically ungrounded. In my own case, and I suspect many others, I learned ungroundedness at a young age, so the habit runs deep. Do you have a grounding ritual or rituals? Do you have to work at groundedness too? What advice can you give us, please? Great question. Very simple answer. Groundedness. Look at my weird little hair thing. You're gonna look at that if I don't fix it. Now you're gonna... Okay. Groundedness. It's so literal. It's grounding. The same way that you ground the electricity in your house is, which you put a hole in the ground, you need to get on the ground. You need to get your bare feet on the ground. Literally just put your feet touching the earth. See, you're an energy system, you're a circuit, and shoes, being one of the worst inventions ever, while useful, can cause a lot of problems for us because the earth is its own magnetic system, and so are we. So it's designed so that we literally are supposed to be walking on the earth, giving our energy into the earth, and the earth should be pulling off excess, negative ions and stuff. But we don't do that. We don't get outside, we don't touch the ground, we don't touch the earth, and before I forget, we have a lot of winter here, and so obviously people do, but I don't want to go barefoot in the snow. And so in the winter, just think of yourself as the energy antenna, and anything that's rooted in the ground will take the energy off you. I wouldn't be surprised if this is how tree hugging got started, because it does feel good to hug a tree, and the reason why is because its roots are in the earth, and it takes all that negative energy off you that you've statically charged up by wearing shoes. Just think like you're in this rotating energy vortex that's supposed to be going into the ground, and instead you have these shoes preventing it from going into the ground, so it just keeps building up like this. Okay, that being said, grounding is really important, and that's the one thing I try to do for myself. Personally, I don't feel like I have to try to become grounded. I have so many elements in my daily life that keep me pulled into pragmatic things. I have 2 kids. They want dinner. They want things. They want to go here. They want to do this. I'm focused in the physical realm constantly. I spend more time working to get upward because that's where I want to be. And when I've been completely free of physical grounding and been totally in the upper realms, that's when I'm happiest. That's how I am absolutely positive that we are ascending beings, or meant to be, and that we can. We don't have to, but we can. And it's up in those upper realms where we find that stuff. And the only reason why it's important to be grounded is if you're still working in physicality, such as you have a job, you have appointments, you have commitments, people are depending on you, you want to be a reliable person in the physical reality that we find ourselves in now. Otherwise, there's nothing wrong with going up into the upper realms and communicating with the higher dimensions, the higher mind, the divine beings. It's all good, baby. But the times that I have found myself out of grounding, what I think, or I suspect that you're referring to being ungrounded, is being a little bit too up in the upper realms to where you can't concentrate in physical reality. In this case, trying to think. I talked about this in another video, and I think that it's in the the bonus footage about angels. I think that's where it is. But there is a mechanism in the human mind that is like a fail-safe to awakening, and it's to prevent you from expiring your physical body too soon before you understand. And it's difficult to explain, but I can explain how I know this, and how I know this is because of my medical I'm being very careful with my terminology right here, but my experience with the endocrine system and the thyroid being the center of the metabolism is operated by the pineal gland. Sorry, the pituitary gland. I get those two confused because they do such similar stuff. The pituitary gland is in charge of telling the thyroid when to work, and the way it does this is by sending out a hormone called thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. So if your thyroid is not functioning properly, your pineal doesn't know that, it's going to continue to send too much TSH out because it's trying to get the thyroid to work, but the thyroid can't comply. And so, I know this is starting to get confusing if you don't have a reference for all this stuff, but listen to it a couple times if you don't understand. The pituitary is telling the thyroid what to do in the body with a hormone called TSH. And if the thyroid is not responding, then the pituitary is going to keep sending out TSH because it wants the thyroid to work, but the thyroid can't. And so what this is doing in the brain is causing, like, the pituitary opening is the awakening process, because it allows the chemicals of the open, aware mind. And does that make sense? Yeah. If the pituitary was opened and we were having the consistent flow of the chemicals that bring awareness, then we would comprehend everything that we're experiencing all the time. But we're doing this weird little experiment in physicality. So the pituitary gland is way more closed than it could be. If it opens too fast and we get too much of this hormone, then we get way up into the upper realms, and if we don't understand what's happening, it can become overwhelming. That's the best terminology, but some terminology that, like, the psychiatric institutes use are anxiety, panic, what's that word when you think like the FBI and the CIA are after you? But it causes all these weird things to happen because you're experiencing the other side of the veil and you don't understand what you're experiencing because you're not used to experiencing that, because the pituitary is not supposed to open that fast. So that's why a lot of people, I think, find themselves tapped into the upper levels, like psychics and tarot card readers and stuff like that. They actually have a physical issue that if they solved it, they would become grounded and more functional and they wouldn't die, and then they could continue this slow and gradual process of awakening. However, the imbalance is actually there trying to awaken you so that you come back to physical reality, so that you don't die, and so that you do this process slowly and comfortably, because you can't just go from being a physical being to being, completely light vibration enough to fly overnight. It just doesn't work. It's the same as, like, a chicken lays an egg. The zygote has to form into a chicken before you crack it, or it's just going to be a cracked egg, and the chicken is never going to be born, I hope that makes sense. So do find a way to get grounded. If you're, I mean, the best obvious way is to literally get grounded, put your feet on the ground. But if you find that you're still having issues, like you can't really concentrate in physical reality and you're hearing, you know, too much differential voices, because there are low-level beings, and I don't want to say anything is negative or positive, but you are going to encounter low-level beings if you go to the other side of the veil and you don't know what you're experiencing. That's why people end up in mental institutions. So if you're having that kind of really high-level problem where like there's too much, ooh, I'm freaking out, then I would suggest that you get your thyroid checked. But grounding is easy. Get your feet on the ground. You guys, I really appreciate your questions, and I'm really grateful that you guys have kept in touch with me all this time, and I appreciate your inquiry and keep it coming. And please also, in return, I would like to ask you to like and share these videos, share them in your social networks, and subscribe, because that helps me, believe it or not. That just keeps me motivated to keep going. Alright, I'll talk to you guys next time. Love you! Ciao!
Do you always whisper? Is that your tranquility? Do you always whisper? Give your words more